But really quickly now, I just want to give you a briefer on 3 parts of a worldview. And there's different views on this too, but this is my sort of organizing principle for 3 basic components to a worldview. Now, there actually could be 4, but I'm focusing on 3 because it fits. First of all, every worldview, actually, before I say this, most approaches to worldview are rationalistic. And again, that's not bad, right? I'm not saying it's bad, but it is overemphasized. For instance, you'll say, well, what's a worldview? Well, a worldview consists of epistemology, which is a theory of knowledge, or an ontology, which is a theory of being, right? And ethics, or morality. Ontology, ethics, epistemology, those kinds of things, right? And so you'll hear a rational description of a philosophy, of a worldview. Again, yeah, there's truth to that. But I think that there's also narrative or story to worldview. And so if you want to think of it in a simpler form, like for those who maybe don't want to study the philosophy of it all, you can understand it in a simpler way through narrative. And these are the 3 elements. First of all, you have every worldview has a notion of creation. That is an original state of reality. What reality originally was or could be if it was right. It has a fall, which is that original state gone wrong. And then it has redemption, which is the original state regained. Very simple, right? As Christians, many of us already know this. We've heard this: creation, fall, redemption. But think about this, folks. That's a story, isn't it? Beginning, middle, end. Creation, fall, redemption. And of course, most movies, you'll see this lived out in some way. You may not see all categories. You might start late in the game, like maybe you start after the creation, when everything's bad, like Chronicles of Narnia, right? The White Witch is already in power, right? And everything's winter. But nonetheless, the notion is, but before this time, things were great. So worldviews have this notion of creation, fall, and redemption. All worldviews, all belief systems, all politics, philosophies, political theories, all movies have these basic 3 components in one form or another. In a way, so that's what I'm saying is, in a way, worldview is a story, not merely a set of beliefs. And you could approach it from this way to understand it in a simpler way. Now, let me put some flesh onto these bones and talk about a few examples. First of all, Avatar. How many have you seen? I picked it because it's probably the most seen movie in the world. Okay, all right. Not too many of you here. I hope that's not going to happen in a lot of these examples, but whatever. Anyway, so Avatar has a creation, fall, redemption, doesn't it? What would be the creation? Well, I'd love to have this more interactive, but we're kind of limited on time, so unfortunately I'm going to have to just sort of run through this. But you've got this. It's a very pagan worldview. It worships the earth, worships environment, and so the creation notion is when the environment untouched by humanity, and then the notion is when humans come in and they rape and pillage the earth for all its resources. You've heard this over and over again, right? You hear it now out in the world today. Well, that's the worldview of this story, and then of course the way to achieve it is to return back to nature, worship nature, of course, in the story. So you see the creation, fall, redemption. It's inherent within the very story itself. And in that sense alone, you can pick out something and realize where it differs from how hopefully if you have a good understanding, a strong understanding of the Christian worldview, you will be able to, to see that. And a lot of times I think it happens intuitively anyway. If you're studying Christianity, if you really are seeking to follow God and such, a lot of stuff you'll automatically notice, but it helps if you're more consciously aware of these things. Let me give you another example of another movie, The Book of Eli. Now how many have seen The Book of Eli? Oh, okay, good, yeah. This is actually an amazingly Christian worldview film, even though it's a secular film. And, the basic principle there, creation was, we enter into the movie in a post-apocalyptic world where, I don't know, I think like the sun or something did some dramatic things and wiped everything out. And so all the people are basically just survivors of this sun blast. There's a lot of blind people and all this kind of stuff. And anyway, so people are just going around trying to survive. And so before that sun blast, before mankind did his bad stuff, whatever it was, You had the creation, then the fall was that turn, and then and now we're in the middle of that fall. And his journey is he's got this book, and of course we you know that if those of you who've seen the movie, you find out pretty soon that it's the Bible, and he's trying to bring the Bible across the states because there's no books left. Everybody, they don't read books anymore, and the Bible is sort of the last bastion of reviving Western civilization, actually. If you want to revive civilization, you've got to base it on something, and the Bible is that basis. Astoundingly Christian, isn't it? And so redemption is for him to be able to get that Bible to the West Coast so that they can print it and start disseminating it again so that we'll have a foundation for a proper civilization. Isn't that amazing? That came out of Hollywood. Yeah, it's true. But anyway, so you see the creation, fall, redemption, Again, real brief intro, at least it gives you a flavor. But I also want to talk about something else. And I want to talk about the elements of incarnation. Again, it's going to be quick, but hopefully you'll get the big picture.